to conversations. I think we'll probably need to have an internal quick chat between us. I know Manuel has started a, a Git item for that, so we'll have to collaborate and discuss a little more. Unless uh, Pranshi, if you have any other ideas right away.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. First off, I'm really sorry I forgot to hit record. So you might have heard that thing go up just a
No
couple seconds
worries,
ago.
no
Um,
worries. All good.
yeah. So I think broadly, I believe this is something that has, of course, as we've seen time and time again, has been brought up again, you know, within the repository. So we do have this indication that this is something that the users, the community really wants, but um, it wasn't something that, of course, the primary issue was the bandwidth that we had with this. Um, Kind of devote hands to maintenance mostly. But now without that in picture, I feel like this is an opportunity um, that we don't want to miss, mostly because it could mean that KSM wouldn't be utilized as much as we wanted to, and um, kind of spread downstream as much as we wanted to. So this is something we definitely want to do. I saw Manuel's PR, which was a an interesting take because it doesn't expose this as a library, but it seems to still solve the ask. Um, of course, this will need to be reviewed, um, on a more deeper level. But if this works, then this is much more easier to maintain, and it's exactly the middle ground that we have been looking for. Um, it will fulfill, just to be clear, it will fulfill the ask that uh, you know uh, we need a library, KSM. But yeah, if this fulfills at least the case for hotel, then this might be it. Otherwise, what I suggested was replacing the Prometheus registry that we use currently in KSM with component base, and it won't have any breaking changes because everything upstream uses that all Kubernetes components. So we have seen that it works as it's supposed to. Maybe uh, some internal changes here and there, not too big of a patch, I assume. I hope. Um, but that would allow us to apply all metric options that we have currently in metrics API, um, this thing, and basically leverage those. Kyle, you have something to say? Sorry, go.
Yeah. Oh, I just mostly wanted to say like, yeah, like the work that Manuel did was awesome. And it's like it's a wonderful middle ground. I don't think we can embed that in the hotel collector, which is there's some trade-offs there. Right. Like one of the reasons we're looking at embedding is the hotel collector has features like OpAmp so that someone can remotely manage their hotel collector. And so with if KSM still sits on the edge, they're not it's kind of hard to include op amp as like it becomes responsible for owning its own style of op amp implementation. We also kind of like maintain the whole like scrape cycle hop, which can be like rather heavy for like KSM use cases. Like I said, I mean, there's trade-offs, right? Like there's definitely trade-offs in the approach. um like our end state that we would love to get to is embedding, but if this is what you all are comfortable with, that's totally fine.
Was also curious, since you have been working with a lot of other areas, is anyone trying this middle ground approach from your knowledge and how that's worked for them?
So far, no. Actually, the only other like after Arthur, so Arthur posted like on LinkedIn And someone did a PR in like the Garmin exporter that was similar to this, using the bridge, but not like doing a fully embedded version. Um, but KSM is definitely like the highest scale like the highest scale exporter. So it'll be
Like
interesting. Oh,
Garmin is a watch, so it has
yeah,
like 10 metrics.
yeah.
Okay.
So we're still rather new as far as like this is still a rather new initiative, so to speak, right? Like I don't know many exporters that have kind of like said like yes, we would like to introduce hotel. A lot of the exporter maintainers have kind of been like we're fine if you do an hotel bridge like in your own land, like we'll accept the library stuff if you do PRs, but you do you being like myself and Arthur, maintain the hotel translation away from the repository.
Yeah, I was gonna use the stack driver exporter, for example. Like stack driver was recently refactored to be reused as a library. And then Kyle and I we implemented the using Stackdriver as a library, and then we will have another library that can be embeddable in the collector using OCB. I don't know if you are familiar with OCB.
OCP.
It's the OpenTelemetry Collector Builder. It's a
Um,
YAML-based build
Oh,
pipeline for OpenTelemetry collectors.
Interesting.
Yeah,
yeah,
so
that's the sorry.
I shared what I had to share.
I was just gonna say
Awesome.
OCB is the embedding path. So like users use OpenTelemetry Collector Builder to like pick and choose what components they want to include in their distribution. So if we can get to a path where are able to embed KSM, then it becomes an option in the repo I linked. So one of the things as we're doing these translations, like Arthur and I are adding them to a Prometheus OpenTelemetry collector like distribution repo, where like we would help like ideally like produce an OpenTelemetry collector distribution and also like provide examples for people to like do it themselves if they wanted.
Got it. That's interesting. And largely, like we're all in support of this idea. I think maintainers will just have to converge internally and see what path you want to proceed with, which should be easy to maintain or comparatively easy to maintain and have support from the community as well.
Yeah.
I think the other
Sorry, go ahead.
I just yeah, I know you all had mentioned like the last times this has come up that like nobody's offering hands. I'm willing to help, and I think Arthur has said the same, but I don't want to speak for him. If you all need hands to help with something like this, absolutely willing to help.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I mean, we could absolutely, use more hands downstream. Um, it's just, yeah, I think the only reason why something like this never happened, library support, was mostly because of lack in bandwidth. It's always, one pressing issue after the other, and we keep moving into the next release. But thank you for volunteering. Something to note here, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is this offers only a partial solution to what we are looking for, there, right? So yeah, probably not going to chase this because in the future, if we move to a library-based solution, then this is, would we want to keep this around, or would this be entirely superseded?
Well, yes and no. Um, I think yeah, it may not. Yeah, sorry, I'll have to look more into that, but I agree to your point that things will have to change around this. It cannot be like kept and also built on top of if you are moving fully to hotel collector.
Um, guess we can continue this conversation in the same Slack thread. And thank you for, bringing this to SIG's attention. This actually helps us out as well to keep KSM relevant to the community, the stakeholders downstream. So thank you for that. Stephen, you had
Oh,
this.
I just had a quick
Yeah.
comment on the topic. So I know that Manuel, like we've been asking, and Manuel is like very actively involved in the KSM projects. He has a lot of context. So I'm not sure if having like a dedicated call with him would also help get his thoughts. And if it's even possible or not. I know that he has not been able to join the SIG meetings. So maybe this is not a convenient time. So whatever time works for him.
Could
we
you
consider
repeat the
that.
name? I didn't hear.
Oh, the MRUEG, the person that's
Oh, Manuel.
yeah. Person that
we meet regularly at PromCons every year. Happy to talk
Oh,
with him.
great. Yeah. So just having like a dedicated discussion on this topic seems like we have a lot of like thoughts here, and it's just about getting to a consensus faster, if possible. I'm not sure if Slack thread is the right way here. If it is, then fine. I just wanted to throw this idea out there, so maybe we can discuss that with Manuel and see if it's possible to have a conversation with him.
Yeah.
Yes, we can reach out to him. Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
I did have one question, if that's okay, around the same topic. So Kyle and Arthur, about that 2000 per metrics limit, I know increasing that it's just gonna move the ceiling higher, not really gonna help with the cardinality thing. But is that something that's being considered, or it's the value that works for all and usually is never visited?
So David could correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think the cardinality limit is only on the SDK.
SDK,
right?
yes, SDK. I'm referring to that one. Yes.
Okay, yeah. So if we move ahead with what Manuel did using the SDK to export OTLP directly from KSM, we would hit this 2K limit. But
you
if
could adjust
we
it. You could hard code it to be unlimited, or you could hard code it to, a trillion series per instrument.
Got it.
Whatever you want. You could have it dynamically set based on the memory limit of the KSM pod.
Interesting. Okay, he answered better than I could.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Let's move on to the next one. So this is something I added. Actually, if we need a lot of discussion here in the call, but so this has been in the pipeline for a while now, and I remember Stephen volunteering to work on this. Thank you for that, Stephen.
Yeah, no problem. So I'm not too familiar with this or the history around it, but just happy to kind of donate my time here for helping out.
Yeah. If you have any questions, feel free to start with or just ping us on the issue itself. I outlined where we are right now and the next steps. So essentially, I think the most involved part of this would be to kind of get the community to be fine with the solution that we are proposing, the KDA-based solution that we are proposing now. Although if it's not particularly Prometheus that users want to rely on, they obviously have metric server. So that's that. And metric server doesn't have I don't want to say third-party dependency, but it's not dependent on Prometheus. So it's more native in a sense. But yeah, it's limited because of that. So there's just usage and there's just CPU and memory usage metrics that you can base your HPUs on. So yeah, if there's anything we can help you with, feel free to.
Wait, did that say that the metric server requires Prometheus adapter?
No.
Sorry, maybe I misread that.
Prometheus adapter requires Prometheus. Metrics adapter is, I said it's more native to Kubernetes in a sense where
No, sorry, I was just looking at the issue, not what you said.
Awesome. Richard, do you want to give some context in this? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so yesterday I spent some time doing some benchmarking for native histograms, feature enabled on. Actually, I did two kinds of tests here. So why I did this, because we want to push this feature to beta in 137, and it was just nice to see the feature actually in action because I had not actually queried native histograms before for Kubernetes metrics. So this first comment right here is the two tests that I did. The first one is an integration test that starts an API server with the feature get enabled and disabled, and then compares the heap profiles for the particular method, the function that records the histogram values. So you can see here in the first table that there's the new histogram definition and the function that you use to create the histogram metric did not see any overhead, but it was just the observe operations where we saw like this 7 MB increase. Oh, by the way, this setup involved creating a bunch of CRDs for which I was invoking just the monitor function, which captures like the what is it, API server's request duration seconds metric. So yeah, this PR is the one that's doing that. So you'll see, actually this one is trying to invoke the message or invoke the monitor request function for a bunch of different verbs, scopes, and latencies. Oh yeah, so this one actually did not use the CRDs. That was the kind test that I did later on. And the only increase that we saw for this, a bunch of these monitor request calls, was for the observe operation like noted here. So hopefully that's not a lot, and that gives like clearance for the API server to have this enabled by default. So we see like basically on the recording side of native histograms, there's not a lot of overhead created. Then for the next integration test is a more end-to-end test for which I created a kind cluster and then enabled the feature for the control plane. In there, I had created a bunch of CRDs for which I was doing a bunch of list, get, delete calls. And the table summarizes like the observations that I had from that test, where I captured the metrics endpoints from the API server, that endpoints payload size, both for the text format and when scraped in using the protobuf header. So the protobuf header, the second row, shows you obviously some increase in the payload size because we have now enabled native histograms in the run B, the third column. And then specifically for the API server request duration seconds, you will see an increase from 16,900 something time series to 17,470 time series, because how the function, like the feature gate behaves today, is that we're doing dual exposition. So we're exposing both the classic histogram time series and the native histogram time series. So there is a little bit of overhead there. And then there is the next row is about the overall metrics time series, not just focus on that one metric, which is also like following sort of the same trend there. And then on the Prometheus side, on the server that I created to scrape this metrics endpoint from API server for the kind cluster, that also saw a little bit of increase, which is like noted there, the 13.38 MB increase for the scraping. So this kind of summarizes like what users can expect both on the recorder side, or at least for Kubernetes. I think we're only just focused on components, not getting a lot of overhead by enabling the feature on, which I think we're safe there. And also gives you like a preview of what overhead will incur for the ingestion side, like in Prometheus. And the next comment, that was just something that I was playing around with. So for some metrics, I don't know how visible this is for you guys. Yeah, but it's giving a clearly good results of like using classic histograms for this particular metric, which is like a long running watch request, which is capping at the maximum value of 60, because the buckets defined in the classic histogram format for this metric is like the highest value for that bucket is 60. So you're not able to record observations that surpass that. But if you check the native histogram version of this metric, the next image in the comment, that will show you the actual values going much above than the 60 maximum that we were seeing before. And then there's two other screenshots that I shared. That's basically showing you the 90th percentile calculation differences between classic histogram for the same API server request durations metric. So the 90th percentile calculation for classic histogram is steady. It's just showing this flat value because it's like the Prometheus interpolation that's happening, I guess, between two buckets assumes things are evenly divided, the data points are evenly divided, so it's not able to capture the real fluctuations when values cross between bucket boundaries. But native histograms, because it creates dynamic buckets, it's able to capture the fluctuations really well. So I think this is going to be really useful also to the users to actually measure the latency granularly. So those were just some results that I wanted to share from some testing that I did yesterday. And I don't know if there is any perf tests or scale tests that we would want to have for this feature to graduate it to beta. I feel like this is enough, but yeah, any thoughts that people have about it graduating to beta, if there is any other testing or something that we need to do, please let me know.
I think that's great. Like I saw that in one of your PR, you also solved the issue with the native histogram that couldn't be applied to all histograms.
Oh so yeah, that is pending review.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
that is the other
think
blocker.
It's pretty much ready. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that PR combined with these test results, benchmark results, I think should be close.
I think it makes sense now to move forward.
Yeah.
Like once we have all the PRs merged and everything.
Great.
Something that's really interesting to me is, so right now we see negligible or absolutely acceptable increases, of course, because, we are shipping both. But this thing, so we have a significant reduction in the series.
Exactly. Yeah, because you don't have the underscore bucket.
Yeah.
With the label LE labels anymore with native histograms.
Yeah, and across Kubernetes, this might even, there's an increase, but this, once we disable classic histograms, there's going to be a performance improvement, really.
Exactly. And that's another reason that I wanted to put these numbers out there, so we can like show that there is real value if we just enable the feature to beta and then can get rid of the classic histogram format as soon as possible. Encourage downstream users to adopt native histograms fast.
I think it's going to be a long time before we can turn off classic histograms.
That's true. Yeah, the migration will need to be supported for a while.
I think 10 years from now, there's still going to be people using it. Like that's just the reality of metrics on Kubernetes components.
I mean, we could give them an option to have that on, like turn that on, which is like off by default. So we don't expose classic histograms always, but you can turn it on if you want.
It's true. It's true. If it's like something on the kubelet where it's inherently like often consumed by workloads, then I think it's going to be harder. If it's like a control plane pod, then I think it's probably easier for the cluster operator or cloud provider, whatever, to turn it off if they don't need it.
But yeah, thank you, sir. This is amazing work, and I didn't see any blockers there. Thank you for the investigation and everything across this, all these PRs and everything.
Yeah, no thanks to all the reviewers also. And this is also my first time playing around with native histograms. I'm having a lot of fun actually.
Awesome. There was one more thing.
Yeah, but I don't think that we have the time for it. This is not really urgent. This is just something that, Alvaro had brought to my attention. I don't think he's seeking for a solution right away, so we can punt this to the next time. Okay. I know that Damien had some other topic, like the first item on the agenda, so maybe we can, I don't know, if you want to go to that.
Yeah, my topic was just like that we need to go through all our caps and make sure that we set the lead opt-in labels on the ones that we want to track this release, because I don't think we've done it.
Yeah, okay. I did that for Instagrams only, but maybe we need to do that for others.
Yeah, I can follow up on that offline and reach out to each of the people that owns one of the cap that we have and check whether we want to pursue it this release or not.
Sounds good.
Okay, that's all. Guess we can call it. Thank you everyone for joining. I'll see you guys next week.
Thank you. See you.
Bye.
Thank you.